Metal Gear Solid Delta, a game I'm honestly not really looking forward to playing, let alone actually seeing how people are going to react to it. It actually very recently reminds me of how people like Synthetic Man have talked about the Fallout TV show, how actually terrible it was, but yet you fuckers all ate it up. What is it with Konami IPs that just get remade from the ground up, getting a pass, whether it be Silent Hill 2 or even this game? But then when something like Medieval comes out, you fuckers all shut on it. Look, I didn't like the fact that they gatekept the demo unlocks for a long ass time, but that's long been since negated. And even Medieval, as inexpensive as it was, is still a much more faithful version of the game that you fuckers claim that it's the 90s and pretty much tarnished on forever. You had it good back in 2019. I do not feel any sympathy for you motherfuckers who cry that games are dying. No, games aren't dying. Your tastes are dying. There's a difference. But what do I know? I don't really have the biggest bias on Metal Gear Solid 3. I love the original Metal Gear Solid. I really do like the original Metal Gear games from a technical standpoint. Metal Gear Ghost Babel is a much more interesting game to go through even from that side point, and just being a decent game, even if it's non-canon to the games, but is a good mixture of the PlayStation 1 Classic and the MSX games, which weren't even really available back then. And still having the unfaithful translation that is the North American USA ROM to this day. Yeah, we're going with the Dark Children logic of faithful and unfaithful translation bullshit, when no translation from Kojima himself or whoever is going to fix any of the gameplay problems from Metal Gear Solid. I hate to keep bringing up this translation bullshit, and I promise I'm not going to talk about the sexual bits of it because I could derail this and talk about Quiet if I want to, but this is something that people need to understand. I do like the Metal Gear Solid games, more so Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2, and Metal Gear Ghost Babel, and of course the MSX games. But no version of the game, let alone translation of those games, are going to fix the actual issues they have with those games, okay? The original Metal Gear has so much cryptic shit that you actually need a damn guide just to figure what the fuck to do. The constant keycard switching, it just gets tedious. But if you know what to do, you can beat the game in a Thanos snap. So, fine, whatever. Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, yes, it's a phenomenal game from the 1990s, but the part where you have to go through the damn quicksand, or whatever, the mud sand, the quick mud, whatever, the fucking path before you fight the second boss of the game, and then having to go back, but then before that you have to follow the guard, that shit is annoying as fuck. And then even having more cryptic shit that's in the game is not excusable. There are design points in Metal Gear 1 and 2 that can be seen as archaic even for the time that it came out, but it doesn't stop people from liking the game. And then everything changed when the Metal Gear Solid came out for the PlayStation 1, and essentially made the game much more easier. Hell, the original release of Metal Gear Solid didn't even have a difficulty setting, with the only things you could change is by turning off the radar, which, oh wow, turning the radar off. How mysteriously difficult. Oh no. It doesn't change the fact that Metal Gear Solid is too much backtracking. It doesn't change the fact that they essentially retconned Big Boss, even though in the prior games there's absolutely no hinting that Big Boss was Solid Snake's father. Even if that one scene where Solid Snake gets captured in the jail cell and then finding out that Big Boss is Solid Snake's father, none of that shit was mentioned in any source of Metal Gear to this date. And even when the game was localized and adding the Extreme mode, it's the only game in the series I can think of where actually playing an Extreme kind of helped things. And mainly from the re-release of Integral, which did add in things that were not introduced in any other version. Even with the version of Integral that was on PC is actually missing things from the PlayStation version. Generally the only time that playing a game on Extreme in Metal Gear is that you get to unlock the ninja missions early in the VR disc of Integral, and then with the Metal Gear VR missions not really having much to do with the game, just essentially being a standalone expansion of Metal Gear Solid that you may or may not even enjoy. Trust me, you have to be a pretty big fan of Metal Gear Solid to even bother that crap, but whatever. And then the European countries had it way worse when they decided to make you have the European version of Metal Gear Solid just to play special missions, which is the localized name of VR missions or whatever. There are flaws of Metal Gear Solid could go on about over and over and over again. Or how about how no version of Metal Gear Solid 2, whether it be the later released Japanese version or the even later released PAL version, which actually added European Extreme, no version or translation of Metal Gear Solid 2 fixed the fact the second half of the Tanker chapter is so needlessly rushed. That stupid-ass line from Ocelot that completely contradicts the Metal Gear Solid series as a fucking whole. Even playing on Extreme in Metal Gear Solid 2 literally has no fucking purpose. Yes, I understand that playing Metal Gear Solid on Extreme has a greater challenge in most games, unlike Dark Souls, that boasts a challenge that actually requires gamer skills, but at the end of the day, they don't offer shit. And do I even need to talk about the fucking dog tag system that's in Metal Gear Solid 2? A system that made unlocking things so much more damn annoying compared to just beating the game in Metal Gear Solid 1. Which that in itself is a fucking can of worms I'm not even going to get into. And even when G-Man lives a review on it, I just fucking got the biggest aneurysm in the world because, well, I don't even want to get into it, but just know that people defend such vile things, then claim other things that are nowhere near as bad as in the same thing as what others would otherwise call shit. But I'll digress. Or how about the bullshit that's in Metal Gear Solid 3 with how they completely changed the level design for better or worse, making things way too complex for the sake of it, and then Peace Walker and all that shit that tries to make into a micromanagement sim, or Metal Gear Solid 4 essentially turning to Resident Evil 4 and having literally lost the plot with too many fucking cutscenes and just nonsensical stories that not even the Japanese versions can save, and Metal Gear Solid 5 and the fucking shitty spin-off that is Survival and to a lesser extent Rising Revengeance. Oh my god, Escape Room Player vandalized Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. He's not a true gamer. Well, unlike a certain condiment, I actually did go through the game on a fresh save on Revengeance, as there's a cheat code that lets you do that shit, and I used a DLC that lets you essentially make the game a lot easier. It was a crutch, but I still did it. And honestly, yes, the game is good, but it's way too short and is damn overpriced when it came out. And for a time, there was a resurgence that was no longer satisfied after that time. The game is good, yes, but it's not worth the damn hype that these idiots hype the fuck up about. Metal Gear Solid 5 isn't even a game, by the way. And not in the sense that it's not a game like The Last of Us is a game, in that it's a really stupid scoring system that goes entirely against the whole point of playing the games on its highest difficulty or whatever. Even as terrible as Metal Gear Solid 4 was, at least playing on Extreme actually got you shit you can only get by playing on Extreme. So there. 2 games in the Metal Gear series, as far as I can tell, were playing on its hardest difficulty that bears form of truth that games could be designed in ways that are better than how games do it nowadays. Actually has a damn reward, and you can't even really count Metal Gear Solid 1 because, well, you can technically play just about any version of VR missions or whatever. You don't get really anything for doing it anyway, so 1.5. Wow. And you're probably wondering, what the fuck is the point of this yap? The point is that I can enjoy the Metal Gear Solid games, but I sure as hell have a lot to say about them in ways that could be seen as negative. Even as legendary as the translation of Metal Gear Solid 1 was, I guess even Kojimbo didn't like it, as you fuckers are going about unfaithful translations, and that's why the fucker was fired and was never seen again. And then changed even worse in the later games. I can enjoy Metal Gear, but I also have a lot to say that isn't particularly pulling a Jay's reviews and just saying, oh, well, there's a lot I don't like, but I just want to enjoy myself, damn it. You do know that you can enjoy your game and still be critical, even if it can come off as being overly negative, because you have a passion for the fucking games. And I'll be damned if people are going to be swoon over a soulless remake of a game that literally no one asked for. Literally no one. And you wanna know what's sad? We already got HD remasters of Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 back on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. Metal Gear Solid 2 was okay, but Metal Gear Solid 3 got the short end of the stick. And you're probably wondering, is it because of Ape Escape? Fuck no. The boss rush. And unless someone finds a way to mod into the PC version of the Master Collection that came out recently, why the fuck should I bother? playing the PlayStation exclusive. Yeah, that Bloodborne. By the way. No, I'm not gonna turn into a fucking Souls rant player. Just calm your jets. The only way to play Metal Gear Solid 3 today is the PlayStation 2 version, and depending on what version or translation you feel like playing is up to you. The PC version, you can make it all fancy and pretty, but it's just based off of the already inferior HD collection because how dare Bluepoint didn't make the game look exactly like, oh wait, it's not Demon Souls, okay, I mean, how dare Bluepoint didn't fix the problems from the game back on the PlayStation 2? Fuck Bluepoint. You fuckers are all retarded. I'm not gonna bother with Delta. I'll probably replay Metal Gear Solid 3, maybe on PC. I know I got the game on PS4 and PS5, but only because I game share with someone, and, well, not exactly happy, but at least they did a good thing, so whatever. Call it sacrilegious, I don't give a shit. I'd honestly rather play Doom Eternal than Metal Gear Solid Delta. Because you want to know why? Because I can play a much better game within Doom Eternal than play a game that's selling DLC just like The Last of Us. I mean, the first of them. I mean, literally every modern day game remake that wants to call itself innovative and re-innovating the wheel, but is just fucking it up since the day Oblivion Horse Armor rode into the sunset. Fuck it. I don't care. Metal Gear Solid Delta sucks. Skeleton but wheels.
The worst is yet to come. Oh, 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 the worst is yet to come.
The worst is yet to come.